It's March the 8th, 2022, man. We done came a long way from 1992, what, the year I was born, man. Alright, springtime is here, the pollen is out, and this is around the time where, like I'm saying, allergies and all that shit, nature is at its best. Spring and summertime. So, me, still trying to lose body fat. The conflict of interest when it comes to that is, see, I was just watching this video of this song that I wrote based off analyzing some man's emotions. It's called Usher Trading Places. And, when you're born, you're pure. When you get older, you can get sabotaged by a lot of shit. And, when I was a kid, I viewed myself as a submissive man and realized that, I pretty much did not like the fact I was a feminist. I learned it on TV. I kind of grasped the concept, just, common sense wise, and really, had people being manipulative. Like, I had somebody tell me that they taught me feminism, but that is so untrue. Like, my brain, I've smoked weed, I've snorted lines of coke, but I've done it on purpose. Like, what I'm saying? I told my little sisters as a big sister not to snort coke, but I don't even know if it was real coke or not. That's why I'm saying weed is the only thing that you should put in your body, as far as in America, is called a drug, which is a negative connotation, which I didn't like. But I told them, I always rub on it because it could be something on there. But the best thing for you to do when you actually go through shit is to just try to grow your own. That's why I'm like, if somebody know how to grow gas, they're loud, pack, please let me know. But anyway, yeah, it can be figured out. You can call people on forums and shit and figure that shit out. But the point I'm trying to make with me and, when I was in this outdoor therapeutic program, like I said, I told them I wanted to be somebody else. And I was like, I feel like, just feministically speaking, my life I would have got a lot of better treatment if I was a male. But in an overall general sense, I would have just been somebody's baby daddy. Somebody would have just gave me a baby for being a cute boy. So that's why I was like, people were sitting there making fun of me for, kind of being chubby and shit. And I'm like, I know how to be a vegan and shit. And I would, probably value myself more if I was. But I'm like, the point I'm trying to make is that I seriously would want to be a guy. And I was never like a dumb kid. So I'm doing all this, going up all these analytical avenues just to prove to a bunch of people that really, really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? That, hey, from the get-go, I was supposed to be an innocent kid and stay that way. But what happened was I became a victim of a man's mentality, right? I had somebody, I've survived several child predators along with my little sisters. And it got to a point to where I was sitting there telling them, listen, I'm desperate. This is feminism. This shouldn't have happened in the first place. This is wrong. And what I had to realize is that some people actually somebody was sitting there trying to say that I was a narcissist. I wasn't no narcissist. I had somebody sitting there trying to talk me into feeling inferior to manhood by penetrating me and telling me they wanted me to be a princess and all this old girly shit, when in reality, you know what I'm saying, trying to force feminine gestures on me and shit. All that shit is hoopla. You know what I'm saying? And as on an emotional level, me wanting to be an FTM, I care about my mom and I care about my grandma, but intellectually speaking, I reject them because at the end of the day, they are the reasons why they are a part of my DNA and makeup. You know what I'm saying, along with my dad and stuff. And I grew up pretty much getting raped. You know what I'm saying, in a general sense, by autistic kids and all this old psychopathic. all these different people that pretty much were just hermits and sitting around having nothing to do, to the point where I just started giving into it. So they view me as a submissive woman, but that is not true. I was just going along with it, like, before it even happened. Like, yeah, let's just go ahead and fuck. You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make is I've always pretty much survived the world by myself, and I just feel like, I want to be in FTM. Shout out to anybody out there that has went to that. I don't want to call it in an extreme, but has went to that degree to actually provide themselves with the level of treatment that they may want, or have a different, what I'm saying, just being an intellect, and having people perceive you to be something that you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Just for yourself, for whatever. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, I'm growing up and I'm like, I got all this shit happening to me, and I'm like, I'm sitting here simply just being a woman, and I'm like, they're sitting here teaching me all this concept, drilling all this shit in me, trying to tell me I'm insecure. All the adults in my life were full of shit. Like I said in my previous video, I would slap the shit out of all of you guys. I didn't know who you were. So with all of that being said, my inspiration, what I was trying to tell those men, what I pretty much was born on an objectification of mindset, and I grew up around a lot of Creole women, around a lot of Geechee people, and I just felt like from the get-go I wanted to be a man because I was being rejected because I was a female, you know what I'm saying? And as I got older, I started feeling out of shit, and I started submitting to people, and I started asking people, like, you know what I'm saying, I want to, you know what I'm saying, I don't want people to feel inferior to me. And I was submitting to people because I'm like, now I'm growing up, and now I want to be a Geechee male, because I'm like, I'm sitting here analyzing these men's and these women's personalities, and realizing that, man, the fate of my life has led me to be this woman, but I would prefer to be a Geechee male. And I'm like, it's fucked up, because I believe that, you know what I'm saying, just me being a mental person and surviving taking dick and shit, it's like, is it worth it? Because I actually value manhood. I'm not a dumb person. I actually value manhood. You know what I'm saying? Just not everybody's manhood. You know what I'm saying? I realize that the Geechee male, these motherfuckers, really, really, you know what I'm saying? Really goddamn, like, nigga, I fuck with your soul. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like sitting here reversing my life in my head. Like, as a female, I'm sitting here getting rejected by all these women, all because they see a girl when they looked at me. And I'm like, if I was a goddamn man, if I was to turn myself into a man, I still wouldn't be a Geechee male, because that's not who I naturally was. Somebody taught me the difference when I was a kid, but I'm like, I could try. You ever seen that show Made? Some people want to be made this person and that person, but I'm like, that would be a sign of insecurity, but in reality, it's a sign of maturity for me. I wanted to be a boy. This is something that I could do. You know what I'm saying? I classified myself as a gay male because when I was a kid, I've seen people, you know what I'm saying, view their moms as that. I was a deep-minded person. You know what I'm saying? I would, as a kid, I had people, pretty much that would belittle me, or pretty much that would doubt me simply for being a child. But I'm like, when I think about it, like, I cared about manhood just like most people did, and they were sitting there trying to force womanhood on me, and it just kind of happened naturally. Like, I know a boy that fucked me when I was a kid, when I was in Howard Place Apartments, and then, like, he has his mom's attitude, his mom's gestures. His mom is a detox for him. It's feminine wise, but on, like, for simple-minded, closed-minded people, they would think he would be gay, because most people are sitting here thinking that manhood is about being hardcore and trapped in the confines of masculinity, and that's why I find myself being at odds with myself, because I'm internalizing all this male logic and realizing that some men are sitting there being put on a pedestal simply because they have muscles and they look very masculine. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, now, if I get ripped and shit, get abs and cut my titties off, uh take testosterone, would I be the man that I always wanted to be? Compare myself to all these men that I grew up around. They sit here getting all these goddamn cool points from being men and shit. All these men that sat here and violated the shit out of me simply because I'm a woman. And it just fucked up. That's what I view myself. I'm like, I have to sit here and use reverse psychology on my mind to deal with a certain level of stress. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, motherfuckers are sitting here trying to do this and then the third. I'm like, no, I need to be the man that I want to be. Because I'm like, but at the end of the day, I know as I've seen FTMs on here, I'm not sure if they're real or not. Because I would like to meet some or whatever. But some of these people, I'm like, they grew up. I don't know. Everybody has a story, but you know what I'm saying. My story is just it's like it's getting old. Like I'm like all these people that sitting here wanting me to be a scorned woman and all this old girlish shit, and I'm like y'all sitting here doing all this shit because your ass conceptualizing what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man. But I'm like at the end of the day. You know, I was always a feminist, and I was sitting there realizing just on a mature level, on an emotional level, that I was rejecting all these men with the concept of jealousy, because all these people were sitting there. I'm growing up, all these women wanted me to be jealous of them and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bitch, I don't give a fuck about your ass. If you were smart enough to know, if you were smart, you wouldn't have. If you were smart, you wouldn't even fuck your body up like that. Now all these bitches walking around with bags under their eyes, cause boom, they crave dick, and two, they crave dick, and three, they having babies and shit. You know how much strain that is on your damn body? Kudos to you with your dumb ass. That's why I feel like I should transition myself into a man, and I'm not sure if the in vitro thing works where I can mix my genetics and with somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are beautiful. I don't think I have really dominant genetics as far as me, because I look like my mom and dad put together. But I would love. I always said, I view myself as a black man, and I would love for somebody like exotic to have a baby for me. I mean, they don't have to be exotic. They just a woman. You know what I'm saying? I realized that if I would have been a boy, I just would have been a stereotype, or I would have had a baby with a stereotype, or you know what I'm saying, somebody basically a bitch. You know what I'm saying? A hoe. that's basically what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying, half the girls I grew up around, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these people really misjudged me and really had me fucked up. And that's why I'm like, some of these men that I started mocking and shit was detoxes for me, because I wasn't receptive of they bitches' personalities. I'm like, first of all, let me explain something to you. I don't see a difference between me and a man. I never did. And I'm like, I'm sitting here really rejecting a lot of shit simply because I'm a female in a female body, and motherfuckers is expecting me to do certain shit. Now that's where my intellectualism comes in. You know what I'm saying? Expectations, limitations are what has caused stress to flow throughout my body. Okay? Don't do me. Do your hair. Since all these Jamaican women, I mock women personalities for a goddamn detox, because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? If I take testosterone, that shit probably would be goddamn toxic for me, being that I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how male abuse victims feel, but I told a nigga when I was a kid, I seen men take dick too. And I'm like, but you need to be grateful that you have a penis between your legs, because if a woman is still receptive for you, she is still a detox for you. Now, I'm in a woman's body, and I'm like, motherfuckers is, homophobic and shit. I'm like, listen, there's a possibility just on a intellectual, mental level, if I take testosterone, you know what I'm saying, I might be toxic for myself. But I'm saying I'm going to do that shit to give off the appeal of a man. Then a motherfucker be convinced, okay, I value you as a lesbian. I value you as a woman that turned herself into a man, and I would love to be your detox. Look, Now motherfuckers is out here getting mad at the fact that, you know, you know, they can't control you. I'm like, listen, you just like my mind was simple. I'm like, I can understand how you can like this man and that man. And at the end of the day, I have my own. I wasn't really looking at men like that. I was looking at all of them with envious eyes, and I'm like, man, okay, well this girl like that nigga, well that nigga look soft as hell. But who am I to judge? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I didn't take offense to some of these women like some of these niggas, because some of these niggas is soft, and if I was a man, they would be dead. So, with all that being said, you know what I'm saying? Some of these men I just can't take offense to because they ain't built like me. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm like that. And at the end of the day, the only advantage that all y'all niggas had over me was the fact that y'all were men and the women was sitting there obsessing over dick. I ain't no soft ass bitch and I ain't no soft ass nigga. However you want to word it. So with all that being said, you know what I'm saying? I do want to be a FTM. I want to wake up this morning, you know what I'm saying, being that I still have a menstrual cycle and shit. It's certain things I've stopped doing, like wearing pads and shit. But that's why I said what's hindering me is my mom's lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I care about her. I was about to call her a bitch, but I care about her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I was sitting there trying to value my womanhood, and I never did. You know, I got my eyebrows arched. That shit agitated me. I did all that shit because at the end of the day, motherfucker was sitting there wanting me to be just a girl, and that shit is so. I was too intellectual for that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going along with this shit, and I'm like, man, I really want to be a boy, but if I grew up with all these men, there can't be a difference between me and them. You see what I'm saying? That's what I kept trying to tell my cousins and them, they girlfriends and shit. I'm like, ain't no difference between me and them. You just like boys. Okay? Ain't no difference between me and my cousins. Because they just boys in a male body. You sitting here rejecting me all because you see a girl when you look at me. Like, this nigga named Tommy, they was sitting there making me have sex with my cousin, and they was sitting there being manipulative and making paperwork, telling I'm an inbred, and my cousin kept having sex with me and shit, all because he had busted a damn nut. And then they was sitting there trying to teach him that I was a damn woman hater. And that's why I used to get so mad, because I'm like, a man is sitting here doing all this shit. I'm like, if you care about manhood so much and being masculine, you really displaying femininity. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm like, in reality, I'm like, I was sitting there internalizing his logic, thinking, well, you contradicting your damn self, because at the end of the day, you sitting here wanting to take pride in being masculine, and you sitting here acting like a straight up hoe. And I wasn't even trying to insult your ass. I was being real, like, no, man, you sitting here, you doing all this extra shit all because you a man and you want to feel like a man and shit and whatever the fuck. Oh man, I take your ass up through there, for real. Oh God, but like I said, I as a imaginary man, I want to be in FTM, and it's just something that you have to do for yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it would be nice to have support, because on an emotional level, some of us do have bad experiences like men. But I'm like, I don't know. I haven't talked to a lot of male abuse survivors, but what I was trying to tell them, that just because I'm a girl don't mean that I can just take dick. That shit don't work like that. Some people have had the privilege to goddamn not have any bone marrow pain, take dick, and boom, it's so good. But me, I'm a straight up man when it comes to this ordeal. Okay? My insides hurt, and I am playing that shit off. Okay? So, from the get-go, I always felt like I was a cute little boy, and I wanted to be Dez, and I wanted to be all these so-called boyfriends and shit that I had. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, all men ain't that attractive. You know, you see in some of my videos, I bring up people like, you know, learning heritage and ethnic backgrounds and shit. Everybody, you know, want this perfect look. I always viewed myself as an ugly man. Okay? Because at the end of the day, some people are sitting here getting judged based off. Somebody told me and my mom that we were masculine all because they were goddamn vegans and fried and like being curvaceous and just like being bitches. And I'm like, I do view my mama as a damn masculine woman, and that's why I used to get mad, because I didn't understand why she liked men. And I'm like, after she had me, she just gave up She just viewed herself as a woman that like men, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You if you're a scorned woman, you have no choice but to think bisexually. Whether it's because you feel scorned, you got molested, whatever the case is. But that's what's holding me back as far as goddamn exercising and being like a vegan and shit. Cause I was like, I'm like, if I was to get FTM surgery, how would that work? If I'm a pessimist, I'll have to get somebody to talk me out of that. I've been told that I have an iron deficiency, so you gotta consider losing blood. I'm like, well, do I really want to do this? Is it worth it? Because there are some risks, you know. Me being a mental person, when it comes to a pig laying accents, all these songs I'm listening to and shit, I can go to goddamn surgery and close my eyes and I can't control my thoughts while I'm asleep. Motherfucking heart beating fast and shit. These are the things that I have to take into consideration. I'm sitting here doing all this analyzing because I done seen some women that really have turned me on, and I'm like, shit, at the end of the day, I still went there and still ain't gonna have no dick, and I'm like, now all these hoes is ran through and wore out, and they ain't looking the same. You know what I'm saying? Every woman don't appeal to me. Some bitches got swag. Like, I like Creole women, but they gotta be a certain way and they gotta look a certain way. You know, it ain't even about that. The reason why I became nitpicky is because I realized that my sexual attraction toward women is kind of fueled by manhood and not fueled by manhood, but as far as me, you happen to use reverse psychology on my life, I would be a controlling man, and I know how to make a woman seduce me. Like I said, I've actually preserved the essence of what it means to feel detox, and I want to be a submissive man, and I realized that, you know, I was attracted to certain people's swag and shit like that, and all that shit was a detox for me, and I'm like, the only reason why I'm getting rejected is because I got a female body. So I became other men in the mind that weren't being rejected by these bitches simply because they were men. They weren't doubting themselves, and I was sitting there trying to detox myself. Like, there's a rapper on here named Tom G. I wrote a lot of freestyles for him based off the fact that I wanted to have a Geechee accent. Okay, so me being envious of a pig-legged tongue, I'm like, damn, I could at least been a damn dyke that spoke Geechee, but I don't. So what I'm saying is, now somebody perceiving me to be some crazy ass bitch. You ever heard that song by Khalees? I hate you so much right now. Like, that's how a nigga feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers out here is plotting against my downfall, and y'all know who y'all is. I was watching a video of, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Atlanta area, but there's a place called Family Going Apartments. I grew up in these places, and it's when I grew up, you know, I was around people that were doing shit to me that really had an old school mentality. You know, I am one of the boys. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, man, first of all, that's how it was. I'm like, y'all, I'm sitting here getting fucked by all these damn autistic kids, and all these kids is sitting here. All this shit wasn't normal. Like, you know, I go around my family members, and they'll be like, we used to torture that girl. That shit is not funny. For what? That's why I say I need to go ahead and be the man that I need to be and forget about all them folks. You know what I'm saying? When, as far as my mom is concerned, I'm like, I need to let that shit go. She a woman, that's what she gonna be. When I leave this earth, I need to go ahead and transition, lose all my body fat, and go ahead and just do this. I mean, I really don't need to lose body fat, because I'm like, I want somebody to actually sit down and talk to me. Because I'm like, I got to become my own man. Me being a transitional male in the mind have always been like that. I'm like, I gotta stop comparing myself to all these men I grew up around. Take the testosterone and just see how I like it. Cause I mean, it's a very personal thing when you want to go to this degree. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't want to be negative and say that extreme. It's a very personal thing when you not want to change your identity, but become what you think your reality should be. You know what I'm saying? Or should have been, or whatever the case is. I just feel like, you know, me being a woman and taking testosterone, I have to actually figure out how I could identify myself as my own man when people are sitting here comparing me to all their boyfriends and shit. See, that's what happened when you're a woman. That's what the being a transitional male is about. And I'm like, somebody was like, I know somebody that died from that, but people say shit. You know what I'm saying? I've never even seen a transsexual in real life, so I wouldn't goddamn know. But it's an idea in my head that I know of, so it's something that I definitely would want to do. And it's fucked up because I'm like, I grow hair on my face just naturally, preservatives or whatever. Or just like, how motherfuckers say, liquor put hair on your chest. It does. You know what I'm saying? I drink Hennessy and, realize that it does, give you a masculine effect. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I believe. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit really it works like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I used to get so mad because I was sitting there telling her like I never was really objectifying a man that was sitting there trying to talk me into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all niggas is straight up pervs. Let's be real. You sitting here wanting to just bust a nut, and I'm like sitting here with this whole pig ass shit, feeling stimulated for no damn reason, and I'm having all these men thinking that I was really into them because they were conceited or they were confident about themselves. And that's why I said I grew up and then this mom wanted her little boy to just to be a boy, and I'm like, that's not what it was. She was toxic for me. Now I said these women from Jamaica and shit, this shit happened naturally. You know what I'm saying? I be around these women and they rolled off on me, and I'm like, in a sense I feel feminized because in from the get go I didn't know who they was. You know what I'm